What's up, guys? It's JTB Gaming here, and today we have another episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory. And to start this episode off, at the end of last season, we were offered the US men's national team job. I have accepted the job, and if you want to see me continue on with this, or if you don't, vote on the poll. Looking at how the team will be lining up this season, I will be looking to line us up in a 5-3-2. It is a very defensive formation, as I feel that's the only thing we've really been struggling with, as we have very good attacking players. The teams overall, we are now a 4.5 star team, as we have a 77 rated offense, an 82 rated midfield, and a 78 rated defense. Looking at some of the players that I will be looking to get rid of this season, Arnos, Ferreras, and Forrester are all being transfer listed just because they don't have high enough potentials anymore. Gillespie will be loaned out, as I will look to play our youth player Diaz in order to accomplish the youth development achievement. I will also be loaning out Nasser, Elbasir, and Campbell. We will also be looking to loan out Vergara and Durate. For the first season in a while, we do not have a strict financial requirement, which is why I have not been buying any players. And this season, as we are now a bigger club, I am looking to bring in a striker and a center back. And these are the players I have been looking at. Out of all those players, the two players I have decided to look to buy are Leander Dendoncker and Silas Wamangituka. Both of them have agreed to join the club, as they are our first two big transfers and our first two transfers in 4 seasons. I am also looking to bring in a center midfielder, as I just feel like we could use with a little bit more variety. And the main player I have looked to go after is Lucas Paqueta. I've also looked to go after Rolls, as he was with us on loan in the first season, and he could be a very good bench player. Both of them have agreed to join the club, as we bring in Paqueta and Rolls returns to the club. After those other players that we have brought in, I've decided to sell Hansen, as he no longer has a spot in the starting 11, along with Valera. We now get into the first game of the season as we play Sheffield United. Sheffield United will be lining up in a 5-3-2. We will also be lining up in a 5-3-2, as we will have Diaz in goal, Laird at right back, Hendricks, Dendoncker, and Jansen at center backs, Drummond at left back, Murray at center mid, Gordson at left center mid, Lopez at right center mid, with McAvoy and Wamangituka up top. In the 78th minute, Guedza gets the ball before he turns Jansen, gets in behind our defense, and puts the ball in the back of the net to put Sheffield United up 1-0. That goal by Sheffield United would be the only goal, as they go on to beat us 1-0 in the first game of the season. After that loss against Sheffield United, I realized that we were truly playing too defensively, so I decided to switch us to a 4-3-3 holding, as we will have Diaz in goal, Hendricks at right back, Dendoncker and Jansen at center backs, Drummond at left back, Murray at defensive mid, Lopez and Paqueta at center mids, McAvoy and Gordson out wide, with Wamangituka up top. This team is going to be our backup team, and they will be playing a 4-2-3-1, as it is full of very promising youth players and also some not so promising players who will just be looking to get some game time. As I feel like as we are a bigger club, this team will be playing more frequently now. After the Europa League playoffs, we have been drawn in Group A, as the teams we will be facing are Marseille, FC Midtjylland, and Victoria Plzen. We should be able to win this group, and if we don't win, then we should definitely finish in second. We now get into our first Europa League game, as we face Victoria Plzen at Doosan Arena. Victoria Plzen will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. We will be lining up in that 4-3-3 holding. In the 32nd minute, the ball is played into their striker, where he turns Jansen and puts the ball in the back of the net to give Victoria Plzen the early 1-0 lead. In the 40th minute, Paqueta is able to dribble the ball through their defense before he is one-on-one with the keeper and puts it in the back of the net, tying the game at 1-1. In the 73rd minute, Wamangituka finds himself in behind the defense before he uses his speed to make sure he stays away and puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 2-1. At full time, we would go on to beat Victoria Plzen 2-1 as we get our first Europa League victory. We now travel to Anfield for a very important league game against Liverpool. Liverpool will be lining up in their 4-3-3 false 9. The only two changes that I see that they've made from last season is Ferland Mendy at left back and Martin Odegaard at center mid. We will be sticking with our strongest 11 as we continue to line up in that 4-3-3 holding. In the 8th minute, Drummond is dribbling into the box before Lopez shoots it. Alisson saves it, but it falls right to McAvoy's feet as he puts us up 1-0 early in the game. In the 15th minute, Lopez plays Paqueta, who shoots. Alisson blocks it, but it again falls right to McAvoy as he puts us up 2-0 with his second goal of the game. In the 21st minute, Lopez plays Wamangituka in behind before he cuts past his defender and curls the ball around Alisson to put us up 3-0. In the 68th minute, Paqueta again dribbles around the defense where he gets the ball in the box and he shoots, putting it past Alisson to put us up 4-0 against Liverpool. In the 83rd minute, a Liverpool player gets in behind our defense before he volleys the ball right upper 90 as Liverpool get a consolation goal, making the score 4-1. At full time, we would go on to beat Liverpool 4-1 in the league as we get a crucial 3 points and solidify our status as a big club. We now have the toughest game of the Europa League group stage as we face Marseille. We have not made any changes to the starting lineup as we face Marseille. Marseille will also be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding. The only player that I see as a potential threat is Ryan Brewster up top. In the 41st minute, we earned a penalty as Gordson steps up to take it. He shoots left as the keeper cannot save it as we go up 1-0. In the 52nd minute, McAvoy is dribbling in behind the defense where he cuts it back to Lopez, who shoots it first time into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In the 83rd minute, Gordson dribbles in behind the defense before he shoots the ball near post to put us up 3-0. At full time, we would go on to beat Marseille as we were definitely the more dominant team, as we are now first in the group. Looking at our youth scouts, I've decided to send our 3 scouts out for the rest of the season, as I will have one going to the Ivory Coast to find some strong players, another one going to Cameroon to find some strong players, and another one going to Nigeria to find some attackers. We now travel to the Etihad Stadium to face last season's champions Manchester City. Man City will be lining up in their 4-3-3 holding. Ederson will be in goal, Reece James will be playing right back, Kabak and Torres will be center backs, Semedo will be left back, Sukak will be playing defensive mid, Keita and Rodri will be center mids, Silva on the right, Griezmann up top, and Sterling on the left. We will again be putting out our strongest 11 to face Manchester City. In the 17th minute, Drummond spots Lopez making the run before he muscles off Keita as he curls the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0 early in the game. That goal by Lopez would be the only goal of the game as we beat Manchester City 1-0. They definitely dominated the game more, but Diaz was having an amazing day in goal. We now travel to the Emirates Stadium to face league-leading Arsenal. Arsenal will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. Their most dangerous player is definitely their striker Daka, as we will have to make sure he is not effective today. We again will be lining out our strongest 11 as we play our 4-3-3 holding. After Arsenal scored earlier in the game, we earned a penalty as Gordson steps up to take it. He sends it to the right as it goes post in to tie the game at 1-1. Just a couple of minutes later, we counter after an Arsenal corner as Hendricks plays Gordson in behind before Gordson shoots and scores to put us up 2-1. In the 43rd minute, Pepe beats Jansen before he crosses it into their left back who puts it in the back of the net, tying the game at 2-2. Just a couple of minutes after halftime, Wamangituka plays Lopez in behind the defense before he curls it around the keeper to put us up 3-2. After Arsenal equalized the game, Gordson steps up to take another penalty as he sends Pickford the wrong way to put us up 4-3 late in the game. In the 82nd minute, Pepe again finds the ball out wide as he crosses it into Xhaka, who puts it into the back of the net, leveling the game at 4-4. At full time, we would go on to tie against Arsenal 4-4. This was a very offensive-based game, but we do not mind the draw as we were facing the league leaders. Looking at the player who will be departing us in January, Laird has been sold to Tottenham Hotspur as he is no longer a part of the starting 11. Heading into the month of January, we are now currently in first place in the league as we have 56 points, as Spurs are in second with 50 points, tied with Manchester City. If we can keep this up, this means that we will be Premier League champions. Currently, in the Carabao Cup, we're in the semi-finals, as we will be facing Liverpool, who we just destroyed in the league 4-1, so we should advance. In the Europa League, after winning our group, we have been drawn against German side Bayer Leverkusen. This will be a tough tie. In the FA Cup, we've been drawn against Lincoln City. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like down below. And it's JTB Gaming, signing off. What's up, guys? It's JTB Gaming here. And to start off this episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory, we have the Carabao Cup semi-finals against Liverpool. Liverpool will be lining up in their 4-3-3 false nine. We will be lining up in our 4-3-3 holding as we continue to line up with our strongest 11. In the 42nd minute, Gordon is in behind the defense before he knocks it across to Wamantuka, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 53rd minute, Liverpool are working the ball around the edge of the box before one of their players shoots it. It goes off the post, and then it falls to Lozano's feet as he equalizes the game at 1-1. At full time, it would be a 1-1 draw in the first leg of the semifinals, as we will have to make sure that we win the second leg, but first we have our FA Cup game against Manchester City. For our FA Cup game against Manchester City, we travel to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City will be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding. We will continue to line up in our 4-3-3 holding. The only changes that we have made is Lopez is out injured, so Brown will be playing at defensive mid as we move Murray to center mid. In the 7th minute, Brown gets the ball before he finds Wamantuka, who turns his defender and then puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0 early in the game. In the 22nd minute, we have a penalty as Gordon steps up to take it. He shoots and converts it to put us up 2-0. In the 74th minute, Manchester City work the ball around the edge of the box before they find an open player who gets the ball and puts it into the back of the net, making the score now 2-1. At full time, we would go on to beat Manchester City 2-1 as we advance into the FA Cup. We now host Liverpool in the second leg of the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. We will be lining up in our 4-3-3 holding. Lopez makes a return to the starting lineup, so Brown is out and Murray is moved back to defensive mid. Liverpool will again be lining up in their 4-3-3 false nine. In the 53rd minute, Wamantuka is in behind the defense. He shoots, Alisson saves it, but it falls right to Lopez, who puts it in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 59th minute, Sadio Mane beats Murray before he plays it into Serge Gnabry, who puts the ball in the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. In the 78th minute, Alexander-Arnold crosses the ball. It is then headed to Lozano, who somehow gets the volley off to put Liverpool up 2-1. At full time, Liverpool would go on to win 2-1 as they advanced to the final of the Carabao Cup. Liverpool won 3-2 on aggregate as they will face Arsenal in the Carabao Cup final. After that loss against Liverpool, I came to the conclusion that we would need some reinforcements for next season, so I'm looking to bring in a right back, a defensive mid, and a striker. The first player that I've brought in is Musa Wag from Atletico Madrid. He can play right back, right wing back, or left back, and we have bought him for $34 million. The next player that I've bought is Lucas Torreira from AS Monaco. He can play defensive mid or center mid, and we have bought him for $50.2 million. The next player that we have signed is Tammy Abraham from Hoffenheim. His contract was expiring, so we were able to get him on a free transfer, as we now are done buying players for next season. We now get into our Europa League game against Bayern Leverkusen. They will be lining up in a 3-4-2-1. They have some very, very talented players, so this should be a challenge. We will again be sticking with our 4-3-3 holding. In the 5th minute, McAvoy plays the ball into Lopez, who crosses the ball into the back post as Gordon is there to finish it to put us up 1-0. In the 10th minute, Gordon gets the ball before he plays it through to McAvoy, who takes a touch and finishes it side netting to put us up 2-0. In the 25th minute, the ball is played across the box before Drummond makes a mistake, before their striker is able to get the ball and put it into the back of the net to make the score 2-1. In the 36th minute, Lopez finds himself on the ball before he plays it to Wamantuka, who puts it far post to put us up 3-1. In the 89th minute, Gallardo finds himself behind the defense before he lays the ball over to Rolls, who puts it in the back of the net, making the score now 4-1. At full time, we would beat Bayer Leverkusen 4-1 in the first leg of the Europa League. In the second leg, I played the backups as we lost 3-0, but we won on aggregate. In the round of 16, we will now be facing Lyon. We now get right into that first leg of the Europa League round of 16 game against Lyon. We have again not made any changes as we continue to line up in our 4-3-3 holding. Lyon will also be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding. In the 9th minute, Lyon have the ball out wide before it's played into their player who crosses it back post as Augustin is unmarked as Lyon go up 1-0. In the 15th minute, Hendricks is on the ball before he plays it to Lopez, who plays it through to Wamangituka, who puts the ball into the back of the net to equalize the game at 1-1. In the 19th minute, Wamangituka gets the ball, he plays it away before he is slide tackled late by Augustin. The referee decides to award him a card, and it is a red card, meaning that we now have a one-man advantage. In the 24th minute, Jansen heads the ball to Wamangituka, who bike crosses it into Gordson, who heads the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-1. In the 45th minute, Wamangituka plays Lopez in behind the defense before he opens his hips and curls it side netting to put us up 3-1. In the 75th minute, Paqueta plays Wamangituka in behind the defense before he muscles the ball off the defender and volleys it into the back of the net to put us up 4-1. At full time, we would go on to win 4-1 against Lyon, as we have a very significant advantage heading into the second leg. I again played the backups instead in the second leg, as we would only lose that game 2-1, but we would win 5-3 on aggregate. In the quarterfinals of the Europa League, we have been drawn against Villarreal. Looking at April, it will be a very, very difficult month for us, as we have 3 very crucial league games, as well as the Europa League quarterfinals, and we also have an FA Cup game, so this will be a very hard month for the club. However, I think we can pull through. Looking at the league more specifically, we have played one less game than second place Manchester City, and we have 83 points and they have 76 points. So if we were to play a game and play the same amount of games as Manchester City, we could be 10 points ahead. We now head into the quarterfinals of the Europa League as we host Villarreal. We will continue to line up in that 4-3-3 holding as we play our strongest 11. This game will be very important for Paqueta as we bought him from Villarreal. Villarreal will be lining up in a 4-1-4-1. In the 12th minute, the ball goes out wide to Paqueta as he crosses it into Wamangituka before the keeper blocks it, but it falls right to Gordson, who volleys it into the back of the net to put us up 1-0 early on in the game. In the 23rd minute, Dendoncker makes the rare mistake of passing it to the wrong player before their player gets the ball and curls it around Diaz to equalize the game at 1-1. In the 30th minute, Wamangituka uses his speed to get around the defense for his 1-1 with the keeper, and he lifts it over the keeper to put us up 2-1. In the 35th minute, Dendoncker is bodied off the ball before the player plays it into his teammate, who puts it in the back of the net, tying the game at 2-2. In the 73rd minute, Paqueta plays the ball out wide to McAvoy, who crosses the ball into Wamangituka, who beats the keeper and the defender to put us up 3-2. In the 89th minute, Wamangituka is in behind the defense before he does a flare pass to Gordson, who puts it in the back of the net to put us up 4-2. At full time, we would go on to win 4-2, as we have a 2-goal advantage heading into the second leg. We now travel to the Estadio de la Ceramica to face Villarreal in the second leg of the Europa League quarterfinals. Villarreal will again be lining up in a 4-1-4-1, as they have only made one change, and that change was in center midfield. We have not made any changes from the first leg. In the 34th minute, Villarreal get the ball on the edge of the box before they play it through to their teammate, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put Villarreal up 1-0 in the game. Just before halftime, Lopez turns his defender for plays Paqueta, who one-touches it to Wamangituka in behind the defense before he puts it side netting to level the game at 1-1. In the 82nd minute, Wamangituka is able to muscle off some defenders before he opens his hips and curls it in the back of the net to put us up 6-3 on aggregate. In the 92nd minute, Paqueta dribbles around his former teammate before he finds Wamangituka in the box, who puts it in the back of the net to complete his hat-trick and to put us up 7-3 on aggregate. At full time, we would go on to beat Villarreal 3-1 in this game. After beating Villarreal 7-3 on aggregate, we will advance to the semifinals. In the semifinals, we've been drawn against our third French side as we face Stade Rennais. In the FA Cup final, we have been drawn against Championship side Norwich City. I have not been playing any of the more recent games as all of the bigger teams have been knocked out in the earlier stages. We now host Stade Rennais in the Europa League semi-final, first leg. Since this formation and team has been working all season long, I have decided I will stick with it for the rest of the season. Stade Rennais will be lining up in a 4-4-2. In the 27th minute, Momentouka finds himself in behind the defense before he crosses it back post to Mikovoy, who puts it in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 49th minute, we earned a penalty as Gorson steps up to take it. He hits it off the right post and in as we go up 2-0. After we lose the ball in the 54th minute, they come right at us with a counterattack, and they score to make the game 2-1. In the 75th minute, Momentouka gets the ball out wide, and he smashes it near post to put us up 3-1. In the 80th minute, Mikovoy is dribbling in the box before he crosses it back post to Momentouka, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 4-1. At the end of the game, we would beat Stade Rennais 4-1, as we have a huge advantage heading into the second leg of the Europa League semifinals. I again played the subs in the second leg as we stemmed the game and we lost 2-1, however we won an aggregate 5-3. After beating Stade Rennais, we have advanced to the final, in which we will face Roma. We now have a very important league game as we face Arsenal. If we get a draw from this game, we will win the title, or if Manchester City lose, we will win the title. We will be keeping a close eye on the Manchester City-Chelsea game. We now host Arsenal in our most important Premier League game yet. We roll out our strongest 11 as we look to clinch the title. Arsenal will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. In the 24th minute, Momentouka plays Lopez before he spots the run of Paqueta as he puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. Heading into halftime, thanks to that goal by Paqueta, no matter what the result is at the Man City game, we will win the league. The Manchester City-Chelsea game is a 0-0 tie, which just improves our odds of winning the league. In the 57th minute, the ball is crossed into the box. Jansen fails to properly clear it. So does Drummond before it falls right to Pepe, who puts it in the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. At full time, we would tie Arsenal, meaning that we win the league. And the fans go wild, as that draw against Arsenal means that we do go on to win the Premier League. This is an absolutely amazing accomplishment for the club, as this is our first major domestic win. The players are all celebrating as they know how hard the season has been. Going into the season, we were not projected to win the league. However, we defied all the odds and we went on to win the league. There are still 2 games left, which just goes on to prove how dominant we actually are. As the players now go on to lift the trophy, Paqueta is our captain, as he has made the biggest impact this season. So we have given him captaincy, as he will get to lift the Premier League trophy for the first time for Cambridge United. Paqueta grabs the trophy and he lifts it, solidifying us as Premier League champions. There is the team photo of the Premier League champions, Cambridge United. After that 1-1 draw, we have officially won the Premier League, and we did it in stunning fashion as it was definitely a game that kept the fans entertained. Looking at the Premier League table at the end of the season, we did finish in first. We won 30 games, we drew 5, we lost 3, we scored 84 goals, we only allowed 34 as we had a goal difference of 48. We finished on 95 points, and Manchester City finished in second on 94. After winning the league, we now look to win the FA Cup as we face Norwich at Wembley. We will again be lining up in this 4-3-3 holding. Norwich City will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. In the 20th minute, Gordon is dribbling in behind the defense before he cuts it back and smashes the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0 early. At halftime, we were up 1-0. It has been a very even game. However, the scoreline is in our favor, so that is all that matters. In the 61st minute, Norwich are working the ball before they played into their player, who was able to turn Jansen and put the ball in the back of the net, tying the game at 1-1. In the 90th minute, Gordson is dribbling in behind the defense. He beats all the defenders and curls it around the goalie to give us the win with a score of 2-1. After those 2 goals by Gordson, we would go on to beat Norwich 2-1. And the fans at Wembley go absolutely wild as we have won the FA Cup. This is absolutely amazing for the club, as this is our second piece of major silverware in our whole entire managerial career and this season. It has been a relatively easy path to the FA Cup final. However, that should not be taken for granted, as we did still have to beat those teams and we did still have to win everything. As the players now go to lift the trophy, Paqueta, our captain, will be the one to lift. Paqueta now joins the rest of the players as he grabs the trophy. And he lifts the trophy, officially solidifying us as the FA Cup winners. There's a team picture for Cambridge United, the Emirates FA Cup champions. After all that, we would go on to win 2-1. We definitely dominated the game, so we definitely deserve to win. There it is, we are officially FA Cup winners as we beat Norwich 2-1 in the final. Gordson was our only player to finish in the top 3 for any of the categories, as he tied for second with goals, as he had 4 goals in 3 games. We now travel to the London Stadium to face Roma in the Europa League final. Roma will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. Their biggest 3 threats will be Camavinga, Diarra, and Sanchez. We have not made any changes from the FA Cup squad as we continue to line up in our 4-3-3 holding. There is the trophy that we will be playing for as we now get into the game. In the 5th minute, McAvoy is played down the wing before he cuts it back to Lopez, who takes a touch and then curls it around the keeper to put us up 1-0 very early in the game. In the 32nd minute, Gordson is dribbling in the box as he dribbles around 3 defenders before he puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. At halftime, we are up 2-0, and we have been completely dominating this game as Roma have 0 shots on target. In the 49th minute, Lopez gets the ball, he turns around a defender, gets the ball on 18, he shoots and scores to put us up 3-0 just after halftime. In the 53rd minute, Womakuka takes it to the end line before he cuts it back, crosses it into McAvoy, who puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 4-0. In the 90th minute, Roma get the ball out wide, they cross it in, and their striker is able to head the ball into the back of the net as they get a consolation goal, making the score 4-1. After that goal by Gordson, those 2 goals by Lopez, and that goal by McAvoy, we beat Roma 4-1 in the Europa League final. The fans and the players go absolutely wild as we are now Europa League champions. It's been an amazing journey to get to this point. We have had to face some very, very difficult teams. However, we have taken care of them swiftly. The players all celebrate together, knowing that this is our 3rd piece of silverware this season. As we now look to hoist the trophy, our captain Paqueta will be the one to lift it. Paqueta now steps up to the podium to lift the trophy. He grabs the trophy and he lifts it as we are now Europa League champions. There's the team picture as Cambridge United are officially UEFA Europa League champions. Looking at the match facts for the game, we completely deserve to win 4-1 as we just outplayed Roma in every category. There's the official scoreline, as we are officially winners as we beat Roma 4-1 in the Europa League final. Wamangituka and Gordson were our only players to finish in the top 3 of any statistical category, as Wamangituka scored 11 goals in 9 games, and Gordson scored 9 goals in 9 games. Looking at the team stats now, Murray led the team in appearances as he appeared in 65 games, Diaz appeared in 64 games, and Hendricks appeared in 57 games. Looking at our top goal scorers, Gordson finished with the most goals as he scored 34 goals. Wamangituka was a very close second as he scored 30 goals, and in third, Murray scored 16. Looking at our players who had the most assists, Murray and Paqueta both had 13 assists, Gordson had 12 assists, and Wamangituka had 11 assists. Looking at our players who kept the most clean sheets, Diaz kept the most as he kept 20, Murray kept 19, and McAvoy kept 18. Diaz also registered an assist as a goalkeeper. Looking at the highest overall players in our team, Gordson is the best as he is now a 94 overall. Lopez and Hendricks are now 86 overalls, and Jansen, Paqueta, and Dendoncker are 84 overalls. Looking at our players whose overall went up the most, Yassine's overall went up by 9, Vasquez's went up by 8, and Aduma's went up by 6. Looking at our most valuable players, Gordson is now worth $185.5 million, Lopez is worth $95 million, and Hendricks is worth $90 million. Financially, this season, we were able to make a $358.65 million profit, as our club is now worth $996.95 million, with a projection of being $1.57 billion. Looking at our overall career resume, we have won now 3 league titles. We won 2 domestic cups. We did win a Continental Cup. Our record transfer fee was $38.4 million. We have played 425 games. We have won 287 of those. We have drawn 69 and we have lost 69. We have scored 802 goals while only conceding 409. Looking at this 2025-2026 season specifically, the club wanted us to finish in a Europa League spot, but we went on to win the cup. They wanted us to reach the round of 16 in the FA Cup, which we won. They wanted us to reach the final of the European Cup, which we did. We won the Europa League, we won the FA Cup, we were semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup, and we won the Premier League. Surprisingly, we never won Manager of the Month, and we did not win Manager of the Year. The highest transfer fee that we paid was for Dendoncker of $38.4 million, and the highest transfer fee that we received was for Valera of $60.6 million. This season, we played 67 games, we won 55, we drew 7, we lost 5, we scored 147 goals while only allowing 62 goals. I hope you all enjoyed watching. In our next episode, we will be participating in the World Cup with the US men's national team. So if you want to see that, stay tuned. And it's JTB Gaming, signing off. What's up guys, it's JTB Gaming here, and today we're back with the 15th episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory, and to start this episode off, we will be playing in the World Cup with the US men's national team. We are in Group F and we've been drawn with Spain, Slovenia, and the Ivory Coast, so we should advance past the group stage. Looking at how the team will be lining up, we will be replicating the system that we use at Cambridge United, as we use this 4-3-3 holding. We will not be concerned with our offense at all, as we have Gordson, Pulisic, and Weah. The only concern I have is center backs, as we only have John Brooks and Carter Vickers. In the first match of the World Cup, we have a tough game against Spain. In the game between Slovenia and the Ivory Coast, they ended up drawing, so if we can get this win here, it will be extremely crucial. We will now get this first game of the World Cup underway. In the 37th minute, Gordson is dribbling at the keeper deflects the ball away before it falls to McKinney, who puts it into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. That goal by McKinney would be the only goal of the first half, as we go into halftime up 1-0. In the 57th minute, Pomykal dribbles around his defender, relays it to Weah, who was able to put it past the keeper to put us up 2-0. At full time, we would go on to beat Spain 2-0. Looking at the match facts, we definitely dominated this game, and we definitely deserved to win. After that win against Spain, we are now top of the group. We now have our second game of the World Cup as we face Slovenia. If we are able to win this game, then it is almost impossible for us not to win the group. The team will again be lining up in that 4-3-3 holding. The only change is that I put Sargent in for Weah as I'm looking to experiment a little. We now kick off that game against Slovenia. In the 4th minute, Gordon gets the ball before he plays it back to Sargent. He shoots, it goes off the defender and into the back of the net to put us up 1-0 very early in the game. In the 16th minute, the ball is played out wide before McKinney gets the ball. He dribbles past the defenders and he cuts it across to the back post as Sargent puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In the 19th minute, Slovenia are working the ball on the edge of our box before they're going to play the ball in behind, and as their player beats our defender to put it into the back of the net, making the score 2-1. At halftime, we are currently up 2-1. In the 78th minute, Gordson finds the ball out wide before he crosses it back post to Pulisic, who smashes it into the back of the net to put us up 3-1. At full time, we would go on to beat Slovenia 3-1. Looking at the match facts at the end of the game, Slovenia had more shots on target, however, we were able to make more of our chances. Heading into the final game of the group stage, if we are to get a draw, that means that we will win the group. This is how we will be lining up for that game against the Ivory Coast. I have made 2 changes as Parks is in at center mid and Trusty is in at center back. If you look at the group stage standings, Spain just beat the Ivory Coast by 5 in the last game, so we definitely should be able to win this game. We now kick off that final game against the Ivory Coast. In the 6th minute, Gordon is dribbling into the box. He cuts it back before he puts it to Parks, who composes himself and puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 33rd minute, Adams plays the ball into McKinney, who plays the ball into Sargent, making the run before he puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In stoppage time of the first half, Gordon finds himself in behind the defense. He gets into the box and he beats the keeper near post to put us up 3-0. At halftime, we are up 3-0, meaning that we will win the group if this result holds. In the 50th minute, we have a corner. Gordon steps up to take it, he whips it in. It finds Trusty's head, who heads it into the back of the net to put us up 4-0. At full time, we would go on to beat the Ivory Coast 4-0. Looking at the match facts, it was a game that we completely dominated and we definitely deserved to win 4-0. After all the group stage games were played, we ended up winning 3. We scored 9 goals, we only allowed 1 as we had a positive 8-goal difference as we finished with 9 points in the group, meaning that we will advance to the knockout stages. In the knockout stages, we have been drawn against Poland. We now have that game against Poland. If we are able to beat Poland, that means we will either be facing Cameroon or Brazil. This is how the team will be lining up for this game against Poland. We will be sticking with that 4-3-3 holding as Brooks and Pomykal are put back into the starting lineup. We now kick off this game against Poland. In the 8th minute, we conceded a penalty as Piatek steps up, he chips the ball and sends Stefan the wrong way to put Poland up 1-0 early in the game. In the 11th minute, Piatek makes a good run in behind the defense before he gets the ball and beats Stefan near post as Poland go up 2-0 after 12 minutes. In the 39th minute, Sargent is dribbling into the box before he lays it across to Pomykal, who puts the ball in the back of the net, making the score now 2-1. At halftime, we were down 2-1 against Poland as Piatek scored 2 and Pomykal scored our goal. In the 50th minute, Brooks is skilled before their player gets in behind the defense as he gets the open shot and puts the ball into the back of the net, putting Poland up 3-1 now. In the 52nd minute, Sargent plays McKinney, who plays the ball in behind Pomykal before he cuts it back and is able to curl it around the goalkeeper to make it 3-2. In the 62nd minute, Gordon is dribbling in behind the defense before he cuts it back to Sargent, who puts the ball in the back of the net, tying the game at 3-3. In the 72nd minute, Poland crossed the ball. Their player heads it to Piatek, who is wide open, and puts the ball in the back of the net to put Poland up 4-3. At full time, we would lose to Poland 4-3. Looking at the match facts, we definitely deserved to lose this game, however we did still put up a good fight. After that 4-3 loss to Poland, we have been knocked out of the World Cup in the round of 16. After the World Cup, we will now get into the club season, and to start things off, we look at the overall of the team. We are now a 5-star team as we have an 84 rated offense, an 83 rated midfield, and an 83 rated defense. For this season, we will be lining up in a 3-5-2 as we will have Diaz in goal, Hendricks at center back, Den Donker on his right, Jansen on his left. We'll have our new signing Torreira captaining the team at defensive mid, with Lopez at left defensive mid. McAvoy will be playing left mid, and Insaldi will be playing right mid. He is a youth player that I have loaned out for a while, but he is now a good overall. Gordon will be playing our attacking mid. Omentuka will be up top, and he will be joined by our new signing Abraham. Looking at the players I have decided to transfer list, I have transfer listed Paqueta because he no longer has a role in the team. I have decided to try to sell Omentuka as I look to bring in a big-time replacement. I have decided to get rid of Murray as he no longer has the potential he once had. I've decided to get rid of Drummond as he just no longer has a purpose in the team and his overall and potential are also down. I've decided to get rid of Rodriguez as he does not have a high enough potential, along with Guidi and Morgan. In that big replacement for Omentuka, I've decided to sign Alexander Isak. He's a tall, pacey striker who is good with both feet, as he will be a perfect complement to Abraham up top. We now get into the Community Shield game against Manchester City. For this game, we will be lining up in that 3-5-2, as the only change that I've made is Omentuka is out and Isak is in. Manchester City will be lining up in a 4-3-3. They have not made many changes from last season, but this is still an extremely good team. In the 23rd minute, Isak finds himself in behind the defense before he knocks it through to McAvoy, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 40th minute, Abraham plays Isak in behind before he returns the favor, as Abraham is able to curl it into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In stoppage time of the first half, Gordon dinks the ball over the defense for Isak, who gets the ball and then puts it into the back of the net to put us up 3-0 in the first half. In the 64th minute, Manchester City work the ball on the edge of the box before they cross it in to an open player as he puts the ball into the back of the net, making the score 3-1. At full time, we would go on to win 3-1, as goals from McAvoy, Abraham, and Isak were just more than the goal by Manchester City's Sokic. The players now line up to get the trophy. Torreira, our captain, will be the one to lift as we win the Community Shield. Torreira grabs the Community Shield and he lifts it as we celebrate our first trophy of the season, and hopefully there will be more to follow. There's a team picture as Cambridge United are FA Community Shield champions. Looking at the match facts after the game, it definitely was a close game statistically. However, we were able to make all of our chances into goals. We now go into another game where we could win a trophy, as we are playing Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Super Cup. Atletico Madrid will be lining up in a 4-4-2. They have kept some key players as they still have Jan Oblak, Jose Maria Jimenez, Saul, and Joao Felix. We will again be lining up in this 3-5-2. In the 38th minute, Isak is played in behind as he uses his pace to make sure he gets around the defender, and he puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 78th minute, Isak is dribbling in behind the defense before he finds Gordon, who finds Abraham, who curls the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In the 87th minute, Den Donker fails to clear the ball before the ball is played into Sol, who goes around Diaz and puts the ball in the back of the net to make the score 2-1 late in the game. At full time, we would go on to beat Atletico Madrid 2-1, as goals from Isak and Abraham were more than the goal by Sol. The players now go to celebrate and lift the trophy, as our captain Torreira will be the one to do so. This trophy will be the second trophy of the preseason for us, as this is an amazing way to start off the season. Torreira now picks up the trophy, and he lifts it as the team celebrates, as we officially have won our second European trophy. It may not be a major one, however, a trophy is still a trophy. There is the team picture as Cambridge United are UEFA Super Cup champions. Looking at the match facts at the end of the game, this was a game that could have gone either way. However, since we had more shots on target, we were able to score more, which meant we were able to win the game. This will be the second signing for the club, as I have signed Mark Cucurella. He is a left midfielder, as he will be replacing McAvoy, as he does not have the potential he once had, and he was bought for $83.8 million. As you can see, Cucurella will be inserted right into the lineup, as McAvoy has been dropped. After all of our signings have been complete, we are still a 5-star team. Our offense is now rated at an 86. We now have an 84 rated midfield and an 84 rated defense. Looking at our group in the Champions League, we've been drawn in Group F. We have been drawn with PSG, Anderlecht, and Dynamo Zagreb. We now host PSG in our first Champions League game. We will be sticking with our 3-5-2. PSG will be lining up in a 4-2-4. They have some very good players, and they play a very offensive formation, so this will be a really hard day for our defense. In the 5th minute, Gordon gets the ball. He plays it into Isaac, who plays Abraham in behind the defense as he curls the ball around the keeper to put us up 1-0 early in the game. In the 23rd minute, Cucurella dribbles around the defense before he cuts it back to Abraham, who puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In the 27th minute, Isaac finds himself in behind the defense as no one steps to him. He gets a clean shot off and puts it into the back of the net to put us up 3-0 now. In the 41st minute, PSG work the ball on the edge of our box before the ball is played through to their striker, who puts the ball into the back of the net, making the score now 3-1. In stoppage time of the first half, their striker picks up as he plays it to his striking counterpart, who puts the ball into the back of the net as PSG make it 3-2. In the 87th minute, Dendoncker is muscled off the ball before PSG find Mbappe, who puts the ball into the back of the net, tying the game at 3-3. In stoppage time of the second half, the PSG player is able to dribble past Dendoncker and Lopez before it gets played into his striker, who puts the ball into the back of the net, making the score now 4-3. At full time, we would go on to lose to PSG 4-3, as we completely choked a 3-0 lead. Heading into the final game of the group, we are going to be playing against PSG, and we need a win in order to win the group. We now travel to the Parc des Princes to face PSG in that final game of the Champions League group stage. PSG have made a few changes, however none of them are extremely significant. I have made one change as I have dropped in Saudi for Wag, as I look to defensively solidify the team a little bit more. In the 60th minute, Hendricks finds himself in the box before he plays Isaac, who quickly turns and finishes to put us up 1-0. In the 71st minute, Isaac is played in behind the defense as he uses his pace to beat the last defender and volleys the ball into the back of the net to put us up 2-0. In the 84th minute, PSG give the ball into their striker. He cuts back and is able to curl the ball into the back of the net, making the score now 2-1. In the 89th minute, the PSG player is dribbling on the edge of our box before he plays their striker in behind the defense as he megs Diaz to tie the game at 2-2. At full time, we would tie PSG at 2-2. We definitely did not deserve to draw this game 2-2. However, it is not the end of the world. Looking at the standings at the end of the group stage, we finished second in our group as we won 4, we drew 1, and we lost 1, as we scored 18 goals and only allowed 10, as we had a positive goal difference of 8, as we finished with 13 points, just 1 behind PSG. In the league, we are currently in first, as we have a 3-point lead over second place Manchester City. In the FA Cup, we've been drawn against Blackpool, as this should be an easy win for us. In the Carabao Cup, we have made it all the way to the semi-finals, as we face Sheffield United. In the round of 16, we've been drawn against Barcelona, as that will be a very, very tough game. Looking at our transfers, we've sold Murray to Atletico Madrid, we have sold Drummond, we have sold McAvoy, we have sold Paqueta to Barcelona, who we will be facing in the Champions League in just a few weeks. We've also sold Morgan, we sold Soro, and we loaned out the youth player Alves. Thank you all for watching, If you want to see the rest of the episodes of this series, you can check out the playlist on the screen. And it's JTB Gaming, signing off. What's up guys, it's JTB Gaming here, and today we have the 16th episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory, and to start this episode off, we have our Premier League game against Manchester City. We will continue to line up in our 3-5-2. Man City will be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding. In the 3rd minute of the game, Insaldi is in behind the defense. He crosses it into Abraham as Abraham smashes the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 29th minute, Man City get the ball inside the box, then Dunker slides and misses before their player is able to curl it into the back of the net, leveling the game at 1-1. In stoppage time of the first half, Ederson punches out a corner. Lopez then passes it to Hendricks, who gets the ball. He turns and shoots right upper 90 to put us up 2-1 just before halftime. In the 61st minute, Abraham passes the ball to Cucurella. Man City do not step it to him as he shoots the ball in the back of the net, putting us up now 3-1. In the 69th minute, Cucurella plays Abraham in behind the defense. He uses his pace before he opens his hips and curls it around Ederson to put us up 4-1. In the 78th minute, Man City have a corner. It gets crossed in. We can't properly clear it before Skriniar puts it in the back of the net, making the score now 4-2. We would go on to score another goal after that Skriniar goal, as we went on to win the game 5-2, and it was definitely a game that we deserved to win, as we get a crucial 3 points in the league. After that win against Manchester City, we are now 6 points clear of them, as we have 64 points and they have 58 points, as if we can keep this up, we will go on to win the league. Looking now at the transfers that I want to have happen for next season, I'm looking at bringing in De Ligt, Upamecano, and Fabian, all on free contracts. We were able to get De Ligt on a free contract. We were also able to get Fabian to agree, as well as Upamecano. As we have a lot of extra money at the club, I am looking to bring in some players for next season, and the first player I'm looking at is Kai Havertz, and the second player I'm looking at is Frankie de Jong. We were able to buy Kai Havertz, as we bought him for $160 million. We were also able to buy Frankie de Jong for $125 million from Barcelona. We now host Barcelona in the first leg. I have not made any changes to the starting lineup as we continue to line up in that 3-5-2. Barcelona will be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding, and they have de Jong, who we just bought, so hopefully he does not knock us out. In the 6th minute, de Jong fails to complete the pass before he makes a run in behind the defense, and he shoots and scores to put Barcelona up 1-0 early. Just a couple of minutes later, Abraham plays Lopez in behind the defense, as he is then able to put the ball in the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. In the 17th minute, we are working the ball around before Lopez plays Isak in behind the defense, and he chips it over Ter Stegen as we go up 2-1. In the 24th minute, Barcelona are working the ball around the edge of the box before de Jong makes another brilliant run and he puts the ball in the back of the net to make the game 2-2. In the 57th minute, Isak plays Abraham before Abraham backheels it back to Isak, and he shoots and scores to put us up 3-2. In the 67th minute, Gordson plays Isak in behind the defense as he uses his pace to get past the defender and then put the ball in the back of the net to put us up 4-2. In the 72nd minute, Barcelona work the ball on the edge of our box before de Jong plays it to his teammate, who beats Diaz near post to put the score now at 4-3. At full time, the score would be 4-3. We were able to get the win, however, those 3 away goals for Barcelona could prove important. We now travel to the Camp Nou for the second leg of the Champions League tie. Barcelona will again line up in their 4-3-3 holding. We will again be lining up in this 3-5-2. The only changes I have made is I've put Wog at right mid, as Insaldi has been moved to striker as Abraham is out injured. In the 13th minute, de Jong is dribbling before he plays it into Martinez. He squares it across to Dembele, who puts it in the open net to put Barcelona up at 1-0 early in the game. In the 26th minute, Insaldi gets the ball. He uses his pace to beat the defense, and he curls it around Ter Stegen to level the game at 1-1. In the 37th minute, Barcelona are working the ball on the edge of our box before Martinez gets open and then puts it past Diaz to put Barcelona up 2-1. In the 41st minute, Barcelona working the ball on the edge of our box before Martinez finds Dembele in behind the defense as he shoots and scores, making the score now 3-1. In the 56th minute, De Jong is dribbling at our defense. He plays it out wide. The ball is then crossed in as Martinez wins the header and puts it in the back of the net to put Barcelona up 4-1. In the 84th minute, Barcelona have the ball out wide. It's played into De Jong. De Jong finds a wide open man in the box as he puts the ball in the back of the net, putting Barcelona up 5-1. At full time, Barcelona would go on to win 5-1 as they were definitely the more dominant team. After that tough loss to Barcelona, it does mean that we are knocked out of the Champions League. We made it to the round of 16, however, I feel like we definitely could have made it further. We now have to shake off that tough loss to Barcelona as we travel to the Emirates Stadium to face Arsenal in the Premier League. Arsenal will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. For this game, I am trying out something new as I have switched us to a 4-2-3-1 narrow as I look to have the team possess the ball more. In the 34th minute, Martinelli gets the ball out wide before he sauces up our defenders and puts the ball in the back of the net to put Arsenal up 1-0. In the 53rd minute, Arsenal are working the ball on the edge of our box. Hendricks misjudges the ball as Martial gets the ball and puts it in the back of the net to put Arsenal up 2-0. In the 80th minute, the referee is approaching one of our players as he ends up giving a red card to Hendricks for this challenge. I don't think it was a red card, it might have been a yellow card, but it does not matter as we cannot change the referee's decision. Joshua Kimmich will step up to take the free kick after that Jansen red card as he puts it over and around the wall to put Arsenal up 3-0. At full time, Arsenal would go on to win 3-0, and I definitely will not be using the 4-2-3-1 narrow again. After two tough losses in a row, we now travel to Wembley Stadium as we face Manchester City in the FA Cup semi-final. For this game, I have decided to have us line up in a 4-1-3-2 as Hendricks is out injured, so Wog will be playing right back as we have Dendoncker and Jensen at center backs, Cucurella at left back, Torreira at defensive mid, Gordson, Lopez, and Insaldi in the midfield with Isak and Abraham up top. Manchester City will be lining up in that 4-2-3 holding. In the 39th minute, Gordson is dribbling the ball out wide before he crosses it into Lopez, who chips it right over Ederson to put us up 1-0. In the 45th minute, Gordson is played in behind the defense. He then gets the ball inside the 18 and shoots it near post past Ederson to put us up 2-0. At full time, it would be a 2-0 win for us. That 2-0 win against Manchester City means that we will advance to the FA Cup final. And in that FA Cup final, we will be facing Manchester United. We now have a game against Newcastle United, and if we are able to win this game, it means that we will be Premier League champions. We now host Newcastle United in a possible title clinching game. We will continue to line up in this 4-1-3-2. Newcastle United will be lining up in a 4-4-2. At full time, it would be a 0-0 draw. The players are now celebrating as they all realize that we have officially won the league and that the league is over. They put in a lot of hard work for all of these games, and they definitely deserve to be celebrating. The players now line up to go to the trophy. Torreira, our captain, will be the one to lift the trophy. Torreira picks up the trophy, and he lifts up the trophy as we go on to win the Premier League. There's the team picture as Cambridge United are now Premier League champions. We now travel to Wembley Stadium as we have the FA Cup final against Manchester United. Manchester United will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. One of their center backs is Upamecano, and he is one of the players that we signed on a free contract. We will be sticking with that 4-1-3-2. In the 37th minute, Abraham gets the ball before he plays Isak in behind the defense as he shoots and beats De Gea to put us up 1-0. In the 70th minute, Manchester United work the ball on the edge of our box, where the player then gets the ball and shoots the ball in the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. After 90 minutes, it is currently 1-1, as we will now head into extra time. At the end of extra time, it is still 1-1, which means we will now be heading into penalties. This is the order that we will be taking our penalties in. We will have Isaac going first, then Lopez, then Abraham, then Insaldi, then Gordson, then Hendricks, and then Donker. Marcus Rashford steps up to take the penalty, and he sends Diaz the wrong way, putting Manchester United up 1-0. Isaac, we now look to put it bottom left corner. As we do, as it is now level at 1-1. Gardner now steps up. He shoots the ball over the crossbar. As if we score this goal, we will have a 2-1 advantage as Lopez steps up to put it right upper 90. And he does, which means we currently hold the 2-1 advantage. Alphonso Davies now steps up to take the penalty. He sends Diaz the wrong way, leveling it at 2-2. Tammy Abraham now steps up as we look to put it top left corner. And we are able to do so as we are now at 3-2. Vargas now steps up for Manchester United, and Diaz is able to save it. And Saldi now steps up from the spot, and if he is able to convert this penalty, we will win the FA Cup. We have to go right down the middle. De Gea unfortunately does not move, as it now is all in the hands of Diaz, as if he can save this penalty, we will win the FA Cup. And their player completely misses as we go on to win the FA Cup, thanks to Diaz, as he jumps the board to celebrate with the fans. At full time, we would win 3-2 on penalties against Manchester United to win the FA Cup. The players are loving it, I'm loving it, as we get another important piece of silverware. We definitely did not have an easy road to get to the final, however it also wasn't a hard road. The players now get in line to celebrate with the trophy, as our captain Torreira will be the one to lift it. Torreira now picks up the trophy, and he lifts it in celebration as we are now FA Cup champions. There's a team picture of Cambridge United, the FA Cup champions. After the season is done, we will now look at how we did in all of the competitions, and in the Premier League, we were able to win the Premier League as we had 101 points. Looking at the players with the most assists in the Premier League, Gordson tied for second with 10, and Lopez tied for third with 9. Looking at the goalkeepers who kept the most clean sheets, Diaz was able to come in third as he kept 18 clean sheets in 37 games. Looking at the players who got the most yellow cards, Torreira tied for second as he had 6 yellow cards in 28 games. Our first piece of silverware for the season was the Community Shield as we beat Manchester City 3-1. As for the FA Cup, we beat Manchester United on penalties to win it. Gordson was tied for the top goal scorer in the FA Cup. In the Carabao Cup, we were easily able to win it as we beat Leeds United 2-0 in the final. Jansen tied for first as he had a red card. As far as European competitions went, we were able to win the UEFA Super Cup as we beat Atletico Madrid 2-1. In the Champions League, we were knocked out in the round of 16 by Barcelona. Despite being knocked out in the round of 16, Isaac was able to tie for the top goal scorer as he had 11 goals in 7 games. Looking now at our squad overall, Diaz was able to have the most appearances as he had 59, then Donker had 53, and Isaac had 52. Looking now at our top goal scorers, Isaac was able to have 31 goals, Gordson was able to have 23 goals, and Abraham had 15 goals. As for assists, Gordson had 18 assists, Abraham and Lopez had 13 assists, and Cucurella had 12 assists. Diaz was the player who kept the most clean sheets as he had 25 clean sheets kept. Lopez and Dendoncker had 19, Jansen, Gordson, and Cucurella had 18. Looking at our players with the highest overall, Gordson is by far our best player at the club as he is now a 96 overall. Lopez is a 90 overall, and Hendricks and Cucurella are both 89 overalls. Looking now at our players who had the highest overall change, Quiroga came in first, and Jackson came in second. These were the two youth players I was using for our Youth Academy achievements, so that is why they increased by so much. Alan Brown was the only player on the team whose overall went down, as he went down 2 overall and is now a 76 overall, as he is starting to get older. Looking at our players with the highest market value, Gordson has a $233.5 million value, Lopez has a $132 million value, Hendricks has a $111 million value, and Jansen has a $104 million value. Just as a reminder of the players who are joining us next season, we will have Kai Havertz, Frankie de Jong, Matthias de Ligt, Fabian, and Upamecano joining us next season. I have sold 2 players in Bello and James as they are youth players who just do not have high enough potentials. Looking at our club financially, the club is currently now worth $1.94 billion with a projection of being worth $2.76 billion. Looking at our overall resume now, we are still with Cambridge United. We have won now 4 league titles. We have won 4 domestic cups. We have won 1 Continental Cup. Our biggest win and biggest defeat did not change. Our record transfer fee is $86 million. We have played a total of 485 games. We have won 338. We've drawn 75. We have lost 72. We have scored 941 goals while only conceding 465. Looking at this 2026-2027 season specifically, the club wanted us to finish in a Champions League place, and we did that by winning the league. They wanted us to reach the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, which we did, as we also went on to win it. They wanted us to reach the semifinal of the Champions League, which we did not do, as we got knocked out in the round of 16. We went on to win the Super Cup, and we also won the Community Shield. We never won Manager of the Month or Manager of the Year. The highest transfer fee that we paid was for Isaac of $86 million. The highest transfer fee that we received was for Drummond of $118 million. We played 60 games, we won 51, we drew 6, we lost 3, we scored 139 goals while only conceding 56 goals. Thank you all for watching. The next episode of this series should be coming out in 3 days. And it's JTB Gaming, signing off. What's up guys, it's JTB Gaming here, and today we have the 17th episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory. And to start things off, we're going to look at the team. We are still a 5-star team. We have a 90 rated offense, an 88 rated midfield, and an 83 rated defense. We will be lining up in that 4-3-3 holding. We'll have Diaz in goal, Hendricks at right back, De Ligt and Upamecano at center backs, Jansen at left back, De Jong at defensive mid, Lopez and Fabian at center mids, Havertz at left mid, Gordson at right mid, and Isaac up top, with Abraham, Cucurella, and Saldi, Torreira, Dendoncker, Wog, and Gillespie on the bench. Looking at the players I've decided to transfer list, I've decided to get rid of Torreira, Abraham, and Wog, all because they no longer are first team players. I've decided to get rid of Rolls, Costa, Navas, and Paolo to make room for some high potential youth players on the bench. Gallardo, Gibbs, Ojimo, Jackson, Correga, Quafentes will also be sold because they do not have high enough potentials. I will be looking out to loan Albacir, Nasir, Guzman, Vasquez, Avila, Durate, Sangre, and Mbappe just because they have very high potentials and they won't be playing that much as we will be playing the first team trying to win all competitions. So I want them to go out on loan to make sure their potentials don't decrease too much. We now start off the season by playing Manchester City in the Community Shield. We will be lining up in that 4-3-3 holding. Manchester City will be lining up in a 4-3-3 holding as well, as they have some very good players in Skriniar and Sane. In the 21st minute, Gordson is dribbling in the box before he finds Lopez as he takes a touch and then puts it past Ederson to put us up 1-0. In the 26th minute, Jansen is dribbling the ball out wide before he crosses it into Lopez, who volleys the ball into the back of the net to put us up now 2-0. In the 35th minute, Manchester City are working the ball in the box before it goes out wide to Sane, who crosses it into their striker, who puts the ball in the back of the net to make the score now 2-1. In the 54th minute, Gordson gets in behind the defense. He's then able to keep possession of the ball before he shoots and scores to put us up 3-1. At full time, we would go on to win 3-1. The players now line up to receive the trophy, as De Ligt, our captain, will be the one that lifts the trophy. De Ligt now grabs the trophy, and he lifts it as we get our first piece of silverware, and hopefully it is the first of many this season. There's the official team picture as Cambridge United are FA Community Shield champions. In the Champions League, we've been drawn in Group C, which is really the group of death, as we've been drawn against PSG, Juventus, and Fenerbahce. In the first game of the Champions League group stage, we host PSG. We will continue to line up in our 4-3-3 holding. The only change that has been made is Hendricks is out injured, so Cucurella is in for him. PSG are lining up in a 4-2-4. They have some very good attacking talent, as they have Sterling and Mbappe playing right next to each other. So that will be a very tough task for our defense. In the 10th minute, Gordson is dribbling out wide before he plays it to Lopez. Lopez shoots, but the defender blocks it before it falls right to Isaac, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 34th minute, PSG are working the ball on the top of our box before it is played into Mbappe, who curls it around Diaz to tie the game at 1-1. In the 38th minute, PSG are working the ball on the edge of our box before it is again played into Mbappe, who again puts it past Diaz to put PSG up 2-1. In stoppage time of the first half, the ball is played out wide to Kai Havertz. He skills his defender before he shoots the ball into the back of the net, tying the game at 2-2. In the 56th minute, Gordson has the ball out wide. He plays it back to Lopez. He shoots, the defender blocks it, and it falls right to Isaac, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up now 3-2. In the 71st minute, PSG are working the ball on the top of our box before it's played in Mbappe, who curls it around Diaz to tie the game at 3-3. At full time, it would be a 3-3 draw as we start off the group stage on not a bad note, but also not a good note. We now travel to the Allianz Stadium to face Juventus in the next game of the Champions League group stage. They will be lining up in a 4-3-1-2. I do not recognize any of the players other than Nasser, who is our player who is out on loan. After that PSG game, I decided that we needed a little bit more defensive stability, so I changed us to a 4-2-3-1, as we will have Hendricks, Upamecano, De Ligt, Jensen in the back, De Jong and Fabian in defensive mids, Havertz, Lopez, and Gordson in the midfield with Isaac up top. In the 5th minute, Gordson is in behind the defense. He cuts across the defender and then puts it side netting to put us up 1-0. In the 26th minute, the defensive player gets the ball, he shoots, goes off the post, and then he gets the rebound and puts it in the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. In the 30th minute, we have the ball on the edge of their box before Fabian is then played in behind, and he puts the ball past their keeper to put us up 2-1. In stoppage time of the first half, Juventus are working the ball on the edge of our box before it's played into their player, who curls it around Diaz to tie the game at 2-2. In the 57th minute, Juventus have the ball. The ball gets bobbled around before their striker finds it in the box and puts it past Diaz, putting them up 3-2. In stoppage time of the second half, I made a change and somehow Diaz is not in goal, as is then played into their striker, who puts it past Cucurella as they win the game 4-2. This was definitely not the result that we were hoping for. However, we do play them again, so we'll have a chance to get revenge. And speaking of that revenge, we now have a chance to get that as we host Juventus at the Abbey Stadium. I've decided to switch us to a 4-3-3 defend after we again did not have much defensive stability against Juventus. Juventus have made one change as Holland is in up top. In the 20th minute, Juventus have the ball, is then played into their attacking mid, who puts the ball past Diaz to make the score 1-0. In the 45th minute, De Jong has the ball before he plays Gordson. He turns his defender and smashes the ball into the back of the net to tie the game at 1-1. In the 59th minute, Gordson is dribbling with the ball. He then turns around and finds Isaac, who then gets the ball and puts it in the back of the net to put us up 2-1. In the 68th minute, Isaac plays Havertz in behind the defense. He collects himself and puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 3-1. In the 84th minute, Havertz finds the ball in the box. He dribbles around a defender. He crosses it back post to Gordson, who puts the ball in the back of the net to put us up 4-1. At full time, we would want to win, as the goal by Oscar was no match for our goals by Gordson, Havertz, and Isak. We now head into the final game of the group stage, and we have our game against PSG, and if we were able to win, we could win the group. We now travel to the Parc des Princes to face PSG in the final game of the group stage. PSG continue to line up in that 4-2-4, as we will especially have to watch out for Mbappe. We will be lining up in our 4-3 defend. In the 23rd minute, PSG lose the ball. De Jong makes a bad pass before it's played into their center mid, who curls it around Diaz to make the score now 1-0 PSG. In the 36th minute, PSG have the ball on the edge of our box. They do some team play together before Diaz is beaten near post as they go up 2-0. In the 49th minute, Sterling has the ball on the edge of our box. He then plays his striker, who then puts the ball in the back of the net to put PSG up 3-0. In the 60th minute, Upamecano wins the ball before he loses it immediately afterwards, and their player is able to put it near post against Diaz to put PSG now up 4-0. At full time, we would lose to PSG 4-0 as Guri and Tielemans both had 2 goals, as we do not win the group. Looking at how we are doing in all competitions in the Premier League, we are in first by 5 points. In the 3rd round of the FA Cup, we have been drawn against Portsmouth. In the Carabao Cup, we have made it to the semi-finals as we have been drawn against Arsenal. In the Champions League, after finishing 2nd in our group, we have been drawn against Italian side Napoli. Looking now at the players that we have sold Cifuentes, we have sold Wog to Liverpool, we sold Gibbs to a South American team, we sold Paolo to Chelsea, we sold Correga to Montreal Impact, we sold Ajoma to Orlando City, and we sold Rolls to Frankfurt. We sold Torreira back to Arsenal. Eldasir, Vasquez are going out on loan, Sinagre is going out on loan to Spal, Avila is going out on loan to Brighton, and Guzman is going out on loan to PSG. Since we have a lot of money, I'm looking at buying 2 players. I'm looking at buying Mbappe, as he is just an all-around striker, and that is something I feel like we're missing. I'm also considering signing Joao Felix. He is the cheaper option, so I might go ahead and buy him instead of Mbappe. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. If you want to see more content like this, check out some of the other videos on my channel. And it's J2B Gaming, signing off. What's up, guys? It's J2B Gaming here, and today we have the 18th episode of our Cambridge United Road to Glory. And to start things off, we have gone on and signed Joao Felix for $84.3 million. We've also signed Kylian Mbappe on a free contract. Next, we look at the UEFA Team of the Year. We had 3 of the 4 defenders in Cucurella, Jansen, and Hendricks. We had 3 of the 4 midfielders in Gordson, Lopez, and De Jong. And we had 1 of the strikers in Joao Felix, who we just signed. We also made it to the final of the Carabao Cup, where we will be facing Liverpool. We now travel to Wembley Stadium to face Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. Liverpool will be lining up in a 4-3-3 false 9. Their team definitely could be better, however, they still made it to the final, and our former player Hansen is playing their right wing. We will continue to be lining up in this 4-3-3 defend, as we have not made any changes except for Brown being in for De Jong, and Joao Felix will be starting at striker. In the 35th minute, Gordson is played in behind the defense. He shoots, Alisson blocks it, but it falls right to Joao Felix, who puts it in the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the 54th minute, Joao Felix plays Gordson in behind the defense. He turns his defender and then curls it around Alisson to put us up 2-0. In the 68th minute, Liverpool have the ball on the edge of our box. They then play to their striker, who puts it in the back of the net to make the score now 2-1. At full time, we would go on to win 2-1 thanks to goals from Joao Felix and Gordson. The players now line up for the trophy, as our captain Alan Brown, who is retiring at the end of the season, will be the one to lift the Carabao Cup. Alan Brown now grabs the trophy as we lift our first piece of silverware in this episode, and hopefully there will be more to come. This is the team picture as Cambridge United are Carabao Cup champions. In the round of 16, we had an easy tie against Napoli, and we would go on to win 5-2 on aggregate. In the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, we've been drawn against fellow Premier League side Arsenal. We would go on to knock out Arsenal of the Champions League as we beat them 4-1 on aggregate. In the semifinals, we've been drawn against Real Madrid as we head to the Santiago Bernabeu for the first leg of this Champions League semifinals tie. Real Madrid will be lining up in a 4-3-3 false 9. Lunin is now one of the best goalkeepers out there, and Vinicius Jr. is also a world-class player, so those are the two players we will definitely have to watch out for. We will again be lining up in this 4-3-3 defend, as the only changes we have made from that Carabao Cup game is De Jong is in for Alan Brown. In the 32nd minute, Havertz has the ball. He plays Felix, who turns his defender and puts the ball into the back of the net to put us up 1-0. In the stoppage time of the first half, the ball is crossed in, it goes off the crossbar before it falls right to Vinicius Jr., who heads the ball in the back of the net to level the game at 1-1. In the 54th minute, Gordson is played in behind the defense. He beats his defender and then puts it past the goalkeeper to put us up 2-1. In the 71st minute, Real Madrid have the ball out wide. It is crossed but is deflected and is then played back to Dani Olmo, who curls it around Diaz to make the score now 2-2. At full time of the first leg, we would tie 2-2. However, those are two very crucial away goals. We now have the second leg of the Champions League semi-final as we host Real Madrid. We have not made any changes from the first leg. Real Madrid have made a couple of changes. However, we are still going to have to watch out for Vinicius Jr. In the 30th minute, Gordson plays Havertz in behind the defense. He goes around Wan-Bissaka and then puts it past Lunin to make the score now 1-0. In the 40th minute, Joao Felix is played in behind the defense. He's 1-1 with the keeper and puts it past him to put us up now 2-0. In the 61st minute, Real Madrid have the ball in our box. They pass it around before they play it to their player, who puts it past Diaz to make the score now 2-1. At full time, we would go on to beat Real Madrid 2-1 thanks to goals from Havertz and Felix as we advance to the Champions League final. We do have some bad news as Joao Felix is suspended for the final of the Champions League. In the Champions League final, we've been drawn against AC Milan. We now get into this Champions League final against AC Milan. AC Milan will be lining up in a 4-2-3-1. I do not recognize many of the players, however they still made it to the final of the Champions League, so they have to be a very good team. We will continue to line up in this 4-3-3 defend, as the only change we have made from that semi-final game against Real Madrid is Isaac is in for Joao Felix as he is out suspended. In the 16th minute, Lopez gets the ball, he plays it to Havertz, he shoots, but Donnarumma just gets his fingertips on it as he sends it wide. The ensuing corner is cleared away, however De Jong is able to win the header. Fabian plays it to Havertz, who plays Jansen, who passes it to Havertz, however Havertz just shoots it wide as we miss a crucial chance. In the 25th minute, AC Milan have the ball. They're working it on the edge of our box. Their player is able to get a shot off. Diaz makes a save, keeping the game at 0-0. In the 32nd minute, their winger has the ball out wide. It is then played back to their outside back. He plays it back to their defensive mid. The defensive mid is able to get the ball back. He takes a shot, but Diaz is able to save it. The danger is still not away before their right back misses the goal as we survive a possible goal-scoring opportunity. In the 37th minute, Havertz steals the ball. He plays Isaac. Isaac beats his defender. He winds up for the shot, but he puts it just wide. That situation could have been different if Joao Felix was in there. However, he is not, as Isaac misses a decent scoring opportunity. At halftime, it is still 0-0. However, it has not been a dull game as there have been chances for both teams. Looking at the match facts, we have had more shots, however we have had the same amount of shots on target. Possession has been very even, as this has been a very even game. AC Milan now make a substitution as our player who is out on loan, Jamal El Basir, goes in for them. In the 87th minute, we go on to make our first change as we take Isak out and put Insaldi in and move Gordson to striker, as Insaldi will be playing our right wing. In the corner right after that substitution, Gordson winds up, he looks to put it just at the top of the 6. Donnarumma clears it away, however it's not actually gone away. De Jong gets the ball. He then plays Upamecano, who plays Insaldi, who shoots, however he just didn't have the power to put it past Donnarumma. After 90 minutes, it is still tied 0-0. Again, it is still a very, very even game, as neither team has really had an advantage in anything, and this will most likely come down to one scoring chance that one team is just able to convert. In the 95th minute, we win the ball back. Fabian then gets the ball as he is able to dribble forward. He then plays Gordson in behind the defense. He beats one center back, however he is fouled by the other center back, as that is not called, as we miss a chance. At halftime of extra time, it is still 0-0. AC Milan have started to take a slight advantage in the game. However, that is not a problem, as we are a team who likes to sit off and defend a little bit. In the 119th minute, AC Milan have the ball on the edge of our box before Diaz is able to make a crucial save to keep us in this game. Off the corner, after that save by Diaz, Diaz is able to punch the ball away. However, AC Milan still have the ball. It is played to our lone player before he finds his teammate out wide, before Diaz again makes another crucial save. At the end of extra time, it is still tied 0-0, which means we will be going to penalties. AC Milan were definitely pushing for that game-winning goal, however we were able to hold off. For the penalties, our order will be Lopez, then Fabian, then Insaldi, then Gordson, then Havertz, then Hendricks, then Jansen, then De Jong, then De Ligt, then Upamecano, then Diaz. We have much better penalty takers than them, however it can just come down to a matter of nerves. Their player now steps up to take the first penalty. He sends Diaz the wrong way, but he hits it off the crossbar. Lopez now steps up as we look to put it in the bottom left corner. He sends the keeper the wrong way and converts his penalty to give us the 1-0 advantage. AC Milan striker steps up. He shoots and Diaz goes the right way, however he cannot completely save it. Fabian now steps up. He shoots, but he misses it off the post. Their next player steps up, and Diaz is able to save it. And Saldi now steps up as we look to go bottom left. The keeper is able to guess it right and save it. Diaz now has to save this next shot, but he doesn't have to as their player misses it off the post. Gordson now steps up for the penalty as we look to put it in the top right corner, and he is able to convert, meaning that if Diaz is able to save this penalty, we can win the Champions League. Their player now steps up, and he Panegas Diaz, but now it is all in the hands of Havertz, as he can win us the Champions League if he is able to score this penalty. We will look to put it in the bottom right corner. He shoots, Donnarumma dives the right way, but he cannot save it as we go on to win the Champions League. At full time of the Champions League final, we would go on to beat Milan 3-2 on penalties after drawing the game 0-0. The players now begin to celebrate as we are now Champions League winners. This has been an amazing journey and it is paid off in the end. We have had some of these players just for a couple of seasons, but we have also had many of them for very long, so this is something that we all feel really good about. In just 9 seasons, we were able to take a team from the bottom of League 2 into winning the Champions League. As the players celebrate knowing that this is the true triumph of every club, we now line up to celebrate with the trophy as our captain, De Ligt, will be the one to lift it. De Ligt now celebrates with the team before he goes on to lift the trophy. He grabs the trophy, and then he lifts it as we are now Champions League winners. There is the team picture as Cambridge Cambridge United are UEFA Champions League champions. Looking at the standings at the end of the season, we would go on to win the league as we had 100 points. We also won the Community Shield as we beat Manchester City 3-1. We also would go on to win the FA Cup as we beat Arsenal 2-1 in the final. Havertz tied for first with 4 goals in 3 games in the FA Cup, and Isak tied for second as he had 3 goals in 4 games. Cucurella tied for second as he had 3 assists in the FA Cup, and Havertz tied for third as he had 2 assists. In the Carabao Cup, we would beat Liverpool 2-1 in the final. And most importantly of all, we would go on to win the Champions League, beating AC Milan 3-2 on penalties. Havertz ended up tying for second with 7 goals in 13 games in the Champions League. Gordson would finish with the most assists in the Champions League as he had 6 in 13 games, and tied for second was Felix as he had 5 in 12 games. Looking at the players who made the most appearances for the club, Jansen made the most appearances as he appeared in 53 games, Fabian came in second as he appeared in 50, and Dendoncker came in third as he appeared in 49 games. Looking at our top goal scorers, Havertz finished in first with 31 goals, Lopez was in second with 29 goals, and Gordson finished in third with 20 goals. Gordson finished in first with assists as he had 18, Lopez finished in second with 13, and Havertz and Cucurella tied for third with 12 assists. Looking at the players who were able to keep the most clean sheets, Diaz, De Jong, Fabian, Lopez, and Gordson were able to keep 20 clean sheets, Jansen and Hendricks were able to keep 19, and Havertz was able to keep 18. Looking at our players with the highest overall, Gordson is officially maxed out as he is now a 99 overall. Felix, Havertz, and Lopez are all 93 overalls. Jansen, De Jong, Hendricks, and De Ligt are all 92 overalls. We did have a couple of players go down in overall, as Alan Brown went down 2 overall, and Dendoncker and Cucurella both went down 1 overall. We had a couple of players go up in overall, as Michaels went up by 6 overall, McAvoy, Mbeba, and Williams went up by 5 overall, and most notably, Diaz and Jansen went up by 4 overalls to make them as good as they were. Looking at our players who are worth the most right now, Victor Gordson is now worth $273 million, Lopez is worth $169.5 million, and Hendricks is worth $144.5 million, and Jansen is worth $142 million. Looking at the club financially, we are now worth $3.43 billion, and we are projected to be worth $4.54 billion. Looking at our overall managerial resume, we were only with Cambridge United. We won 5 league titles, we won 6 domestic cups, we won 2 continental cups. Our biggest win was against Middlesbrough in October of 2022 as we beat them 5-0. Our biggest defeat was against Manchester City as we lost to them 6-1 in January of 2025. Our record transfer fee was $160 million, and we earned a total of $7,440,000. We played 554 games, we won 392 of those, we drew 87, we only lost 75, we scored 1,099 goals while only allowing 517. Looking at the season specifically, the club wanted us to win the league title, which we did. They wanted us to win the FA Cup, which we did. They wanted us to win the Champions League, which we did. We also won the Community Shield and the Carabao Cup. We won 2 Manager of the Month awards. We did not win Manager of the Year. The record transfer fee that we paid was for Kai Havertz of $160 million. The highest transfer fee that we received was for Tammy Abraham of $74,900,000. This season we played 69 games, we won 54, we drew 12, we only lost 3, we scored 158 goals while only allowing 52. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode. This will be the final episode of this series as we have gone on to accomplish everything we could as a club. I have started a new career mode, Road to Glory, with Grimsby Town, so if you want to check that out, click on the video on the screen. And it's JTB Gaming, signing off.